Good evening. I am Professor Elvira Lora. I talk about representation of women through online communication, technology, and social media. In this time, to wear purple glass. First, talk about from narrative of emancipation to digital narrative. In the second times, new silence of the media, social network, and media coverage. And in the third time, CAF study Republica Femina. First time, from narratives of emancipation to digital narratives. Editor journalists. Between the end of 19th century and the first to the 20th century, women and men articulate their ideas in favor of citizenship through the press. Especially, they communicate through letters and create their own media, such as magazines, to make the exciting class aware of the need for they to have civic and political rights. Why did advocates for women's suffrage articulate in the existing press and create magazine? We find this explication in 1927 when the first Spanish journalist, Carmen de Burgos, writes, you can read this. Where the suffragette mobilization for youth cast and participation in political process, both standing and candidates and freely choose among two rank. In addition, they advocate a broader professionalization of women, since it was common that they were only allowed to study professional clue to their roles and mothers, and also they advocate to be owners on their enterprise, to have the power to lead their families and take care of, despite the absence of a male figure, of his sons and daughters. The printing press then was cornered by this vindication, and without the books, this strategy contributed so that women in all parts of the world were allowed to be citizens. Today, when reconstructing the history of them, it's possible to show that they put together that narrative of emancipation. Suffragists, especially the one on they advocate action through words and similarities with the Me Too movement, is so far as the oath of information dissemination innovations. Wow. For what the suffragettes need their own magazine and the press. For the women who come together to denounce sexual abuse and harassment at the social networks. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, especially. Today, I invite you to fall in love with our very first woman and build more digital narratives for the equality and empowerment of our girls and women. News science, media, social networks, and media coverage. It's the second time. Media are patriarchal bunkers. They continue to present themselves as building of all those hegemonic groups of business and political powers, bunkers of the patriarchal system. Unique truths, representation are created to artificially distract conscience or moments satisfy what is assumed untangible and intangible. Right back Patch Arut et al. network hegemony, property of new art store, technological multinational that also silence us. Now you can see another examples. Woman object, nothing happens. Little participation, only victims. You go here. And now I share you a part of the film's Matilda. Wait a minute, it's here. For me. Okay.
I need to talk to somebody besides us stupid kids.
Oh, yeah? Well, a man is entitled to come home and find dinner on the table without having to wade through a convention of male strippers.
Dad,
What do you want?
yell at me, okay?
Shut up and leave us alone.
Yell at me again.
Yell at you. I'll come in there and pound your miserable hide. What do I have to do to gain respect around here? I'm going to give you a tanning like you never heard in your life. My word is my law. You understand? Law.
No kid likes being yelled at, but it was precisely Harry's ranting and raving that gave Matilda the key to her power. To unlock that power, all she had to do was practice.
You're a little
cheat.
wormwood. It's time you started
What are you,
acting
stupid?
like one.
I'm smart,
you're dumb.
The
I'm
apple
big,
never
you're
rocks
little.
far from the tree. There's something wrong with
I'm
that
right,
girl.
you're wrong.
Hey,
And there's
Dipset,
nothing
here's
you
your
can do
book.
about it. You're a wormwood. It's time you started acting like one.
You can see the power of the girls and women are magical. And now, wait a minute. We talk about journalists, feminist journalists. This is a specialization of journalist practice that contextualizes the human rights agenda through the exercise of subjective developed by women and men who contribute to the cause of plural civilization. I share you 10 keys to the feminist journals. Media for collaborate. Female subject in the center. New records for new histories. Building autonomies. New agenda, our language. On voices, more citizen. For shares. Social justice. In the finally, third time, talk about República Femina. The platform, emerged in 2017 to make memory of the Femina magazine, a publication in which Dominican women made agency to achieve suffragette and citizenship. República Feminina redefines in the social media the vanguard suffragette of Dominican Republic and Latin America. Founder of the magazine was Petronila Angelica Gomez Brea. Its editorial constitutes an agenda that aims great diversity, contain the positions of networks, and the public discourse of these members. We register in República Femina actions that she developed, and we look at her through the lens of affidamento and feminist journalists. In this time, we are celebrating Femina Centenary in order of Dominican women to recognize themselves in the organism of Femini that was dated that. Since 2017, we have developed action to spread the word about suffragettes. Now, we working about posthumous meter. We raise call to the action and share you and the final of class this link. And you can see the social media of República Femina, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. I finish with the quote of Luft Irigaray. Relieve our subjective powers is a shame system in the media. Thank you very much.